Hello everyone, and this is Jessica Schab. I am here in Bali, Indonesia, and this is an interview for my friend Irma Romano and her project, which is Massage Planet News, which I think is a great idea about helping healers and massage therapists get an idea of other dimensions and modalities of the many spectrum towards healing and how it works, how it comes to other people as well, so that we can all learn and find a way to create and let come through the things that will help humanity the most at this time with their healing and development and clarity. So let's see, her first questions, she wrote all of her questions down, so I'm going to read them out and I'm going to do my best to answer them. She says, you are now on a tour traveling, teaching and doing workshops. Can you tell us about your travels so far and what you have experienced briefly? That is a big question. I've been traveling for about 4 months now, and it's I've been to Costa Rica, and then I went to the Philippines, and then I went to Thailand, and then Singapore, and then Singapore to Australia, and Australia to Malaysia, and now I'm in Indonesia. A lot of things have happened. I really highly suggest everybody travel some point in their life, either right after school or later on, to learn about yourself and about the world and the bigger picture of what's going on. I've experienced so many different things, but one of the reasons I also suggest people should travel is to see how the universe is our friend and how it works to assist us when we take that Indiana Jones leap of faith, I guess. Then you get to kind of see the synchronicities and it all fall into place. Being at the right place at the right time, meeting the people who connect and resonate with you, which leads you to your path and your mission. I always say that life is shaping and molding you into the person you need to be to do what you came here to do. So let me see, what else can I share about my travels? Just connecting with people like Jessica Shackleton, who is from South Africa, and then having somebody see that and be inspired or have the vision that we are to be involved and assist with the white lions of that sacred prophecy is really incredible, because people like Nelson Mandela and Credo Mutua are involved in something like that, seeing the significance at this time and creating the awareness so that we can do something. It's a bunch of little adventures too. To sum it all up in a video in one question is tricky, for sure. I'll talk a little bit about the workshops. I had no idea how to do a workshop. I've never done one. I've never really attended one. I just kept always being asked to do them, and I just thought, okay, I'll just give this a try. And it's a great way to work with people one-on-one. I really prefer working with people one-on-one. I mean, I can do it interactively, I can do it on Skype and phone and things like that, but it's not, to me, as rewarding and as amazing as when it's in person and you're looking in their eyes and you're getting to watch the way their face expresses itself, their eyes and their body language, just experiencing the whole gambit, the whole dimension of a person, all the dimensions of a person, and being able to help them see themselves and their life in a whole new light, in a way that really, I like to say, they fall in love with life, they fall in love with themselves when they start to see and understand the language of life and why things happen the way they did and what it's trying to teach them. So it's quite interesting and cool to do a workshop and have people say, I learned more in these 2 days than I had in many years, you know, and or have people who host my workshop had hosted my workshop in Australia say I've done so many workshops, I've never experienced anything like this, and it's a little bit of an information overload. As most of you know, when I talk I get excited and I tend to talk really fast, so yeah, it's jam-packed, and I'm looking to extending it to 5 days or trying out retreats and things like that, but I'm still learning, and I'm doing a lot of it on my own. Well, I have a friend now, Lisita, that's helping me with the workshops too, and co-running them and sharing her insight and wisdom, which is quite complementary to what I'm doing, and she helps organize me as well, so that's really good. Okay, I should probably move on because there's other questions as well. Okay. 2. I would like to talk to you about your experience on how you became a Reiki Master, energy work, and what your approach to the healing is all about for you. What is your shamanic experience with this kind of body work and healing? Alright, first one. Talk about your experience and how you became a Reiki Master. How I became a Reiki Master is... I met a Reiki Master, I believe it was in South Carolina, and I told her I know Reiki, and she said, prove it, because I never studied or anything. I always feel that it's all within us, and so if it's all within us, it sounds so cliche we overlook it, but if we really pay attention to this and what it means, it's almost like the Matrix, or accessing this infinite part of ourselves that has these skills and understanding and knowledge on how to do these things. So I just almost felt like I could download this through me, and I was playing with energy ever since I was younger with my hands, making energy balls and playing with colors, having no, it just was natural kind of a thing. Nobody needed to tell me. It was, or even maybe I could have also been influenced by some cartoons as well, where they're sending stuff up, but I mean, it's just, this is something that is natural that we don't necessarily pay attention to, that we are doing all the time. People wanting to know what their mission is, and then they don't understand that that's what they're doing all the time, and just to give them that awareness, then they can start to recognize the abilities that have always been there, that have just not been given its recognition in order to really take flight and guide the person in a certain direction. But anyway, that was a tangent. So I met this Reiki Master. I told her I know Reiki, and she said prove it, and I did. And she wrote me up on the spot my certifications in level 1, Reiki level 1 and 2, and Masters. And I didn't have to study or pay, because if you know it, you know it. And this is, I think, the new way of how people will be, or the old way, if you will, getting connected with this part of themselves. Rather than going to school or workshops, it will just be downloaded to them. I try to download everything I have, all my abilities, to people just by looking at them, or even projecting through my videos as well. I send so many things through my eyes in videos. They're always talking. They're the loudest part of me. So let's see here. That's the Reiki question. Energy work and what your approach to healing is all about for you. My approach to healing is unconditional love, and I felt this feels right. For me, I'm honored to be able to work with people. I'm honored to be in front of the presence of the physical form, because I know the process of how hard it takes for us to have a body to come to this planet, and how much the body endures without any respect or appreciation a lot of the times. I'm not necessarily just talking about healthy food or exercise, but just taking the time to really be like, we tend to criticize our body and say, why don't you look like this, or, this, it's just constantly wanting to put ourselves in the idea of what society thinks is attractive and perfect. And rather than just appreciating our body and grateful for it, able to take us to point A and point B, I think the amount of work that we give our body sometimes without any appreciation or acknowledgement, kind of, it's like working at your job and having your boss overwork you with little pay, and never appreciating you or the work that you do. I think that's a perfect mirror, in that if we can be aware that maybe if this is happening with us at work, if we could do this within our body, because I do look at everything as a micro of a macro, and this does also tie into the shamanistic aspect of it too. I feel honored to be in front of the body, the presence of the body, and to speak to it. I feel that for me, with healing, my hands have a knowledge that my mind could not possibly comprehend. And when my mind fully shuts up, my hands are able to do their work. They always just wanted to put my hands on people's shoulders, for example, or their hand, to just talk to the body, talk to the energy body of it too, and say, how are you doing? You know, just like how we talk to our friends or people, how are you doing, kind of a thing, to the body that way, to the energy field that way, to hear what it has to say, what is going on within itself. I said in one of my videos that pain, we have this idea that pain is bad. But I don't see it as bad. I see it as a messenger that needs to be addressed to the right address. And time again, there has been healing accounts where people have sat down and really listened to the message of their body rather than quickly applying a cream or working themselves to the bone and not acting or doing anything about their health until they're bedridden. To just talk to it and get this message. Let the message come through you, process it, digest it, thank it, and then it goes away. There are so many accounts of that, even hypnosis. People need to find, the reason of why they have this back pain their entire life. They go to a past life where this was the reason, and just to sit and acknowledge that, and to feel what the body and the energy body must have felt at that time, that it felt significant enough to carry it into this life, to be able to deal, rectify, accept, and allow, creates that healing. Another shamanic way that I like to heal is knowing that to understand this is not that hard. If you understand a cell, if you understand the body, then you know that it's all a micro of a macro. The cell is a micro version of the body. So if I know that inside my body is billions of all the people on the planet, basically. If I can find, somebody contacts me and says, say I'm in Canada at the time because I'm in Indonesia, and they're in Australia, I just use that as the example, and they need healing, I will find, by talking to them, I will get a good idea of their energy imprint matrix, because just like we all have a different fingerprint, we all have a different kind of energy body too, and it has this different kind of a color, shape, pattern, movement, and all those things. So I can locate that. So when I feel that signature, I can locate that inside my body. And when I work on that, when I find that inside my body, that is that person. That cell is that person. And I focus in on it, and I just give it all my attention and awareness and understanding, and I put myself in their shoes. That's one of the big things for healing on a shamanic level too, is just putting yourself in their shoes. Like spirituality, really what it is it's not all these gimmicks. It's really just compassion and putting yourself in other people's shoes, and what's it like to be them? How do they see the world? How do they interpret it this way? That they got to this point. What is the gift in it? How is that going to be used for that puzzle piece used for the bigger picture? And when you approach in that way, healing happens. It's that unconditional love where there's just where there's no judgment in that way. Let me see if I fully answered this question here. So the approach is just love, healing, gratitude, and listening to the body, and that's the shamanic approach too. Question number 3. Sorry, I have a tangent way of answering these questions. I have had an energy session from you, Jessica. I found that for days that after I was changed on an energy level. People were talking to me in a different way and looking at me differently as well. There was more calm and peace. What is happening when you do Reiki and energy work on someone? Can you explain what is going through your mind and emotions? That's tricky because it's different for everyone, but to let you know, Irma, the difference you felt afterwards. I really love watching the before and the after with people, seeing the transformation and the new zest for life. I really just like to bring people back into that core essence, that joy that they really are, and to not just hear about it, but to experience it and live it. That's angle of just being that living example and me embodying it, and by me being able to embody it and understand it, then I can pass it on to people just by touch or a look or something like that. That's really, and just giving that clarity that things can just fall into place, that idea of what you need to do, and to just go do it without those blocks and limitations in the way anymore, to help create that clear vision so that you can see it and do it like you are. And also just giving all my abilities and everything that I'm able to do and my perspective to you and others as well. Pass it on kind of a thing. We can all have this, and we all do have it. And we all are special. I do some color healing as well. Certain colors, it's important to just experiment with ones and see how the body responds to them. Sometimes it can be in alignment with the chakra colors as well, or something totally different. I mean, you start to understand the code of it. If you're working with the body's responding to yellow, then it might have something to do with the solar plexus chakra. And in asking the questions around that area, you're able to get more and more information. It is kind of like a physical soul archaeology kind of experience, I guess. I also sometimes like to work with electric currents coming through my fingers at high levels. Blue is a fun color for me to use to energetically sweep through the whole body to find any of these blockages or pains, and the nature of them, how they operate, how they move, how they think. I find that this is almost the voltage kind of a thing is actually a lot like I've learned about acupuncture, and how sometimes they will have the needles and they will hook the needles up to these this voltage kind of a thing to create this little vibration to activate the meridian points kind of a thing, to send a charge throughout the body to create the flow and the movement of the chi again in a harmonious, smooth way. So that's kind of funny that when I'm like, I've been doing that for a long time, and then I heard that about acupuncturists doing it, or I think I watched a friend during an acupuncture session. I'm very curious. I'd like to come in and watch people's massage sessions or acupuncture sessions to compare notes, if you will. Let's see. When I'm working with people, I like to work on all levels of them. I like to look inside the physical body, the energetic body, the emotional body, the thought body, the spirit body, the past body, the memory body. There's so many different aspects. We really are multidimensional and complex, but yet so simple at the same time when you understand the language, and it's really fun. Yeah. A bit more detail on the way I heal is I like to, if somebody tells me they're in pain and it's in a certain area of the body, I'm like, okay, so tell me, when did this pain start? And then what were you feeling and thinking during that time? What was happening in your life at that time? And so again, this is the soul archaeology. It's like taking one knot in order to undo many knots. You have to start with one at a time, and that gives you a clue in the next direction you need to head to, and so forth as well. Yes. Sometimes I'll also get my insight as well just by putting my hand in that part where there's pain, or just hovering above in the area. Depending on where the area is, I'll just choose to hover and send the energy that way to see how sensitive they are, how responsive they are, how quick they are to picking up the energy. And sometimes, I will ask them to see if they get a color, if they get a picture or a sound or a word, because I usually get them. So I will see which one I get, and then I will ask them about it, and we will start to link it together. And other times I will do an approach of time travel healing, where I will take people back to take their present self with them and me to go visit their younger self, and to just do, I'm going to actually do a video about it because it might be quite lengthy to explain it, but it seems to be very, very powerful and effective, and creates a lot of movement and waves and healing on a quantum level. So yes, that will be another video, I think. To befriend their pain. Like, I learned that people who walk on fire, they can't walk on fire in the mentality of mind over matter. I thought it was that because I walked on a path of broken glass one time, and that was the method that was used. But for fire, walking on hot coals, it's a little different. You have to befriend the fire, and then when the fire is your friend, it won't burn. And I think that's the same thing with pain. We befriend the pain. We understand what it's trying to say. And once that message is addressed, it goes away as well. So, I mean, when one thing doesn't work, you find another, and you find the right language for that person and their body to have something go away and not come back. And yeah, I think one of the main things to remember when you're healing is the forgiveness, for us to be more gentle and loving with ourselves as well, like we would be with our children. We wouldn't talk to our children the way we talk to ourselves and treat ourselves, and that does reflect in our back and our body and the energy and the way we live our life, the way we perceive life as well. I like to tap in on the body and see what it needs the most. A lot of things are going through me. I like to kind of make myself a little bit like a chameleon in healing. What does a person need? How can I bring that through myself and then give it to them so that they're able to do it for themselves as well, you know, rather than giving them a fish, teaching them how to fish, kind of a thing. It's hard to explain the language of the body through words because it's a feeling thing that does not have articulation. So one of the things I notice with our structure of schools and say massage class, for example, is that they tend to teach you one way and working with the body and muscles and knots and stuff like that. And each body is different unto its own and needs a different kind of approach and a touch, a certain kind of intensity or softness coming through the energy, I mean, because too much could shock it, and so you have to tone and tweak yourself to be able to be in tune with that person's body, to match it and align it, to first of all get permission to even work on it. Because you can work on someone's body for long periods of time, for an hour, or people can go to a massage therapist or a chiropractor for an hour, 2 hours, and they can feel great for a couple hours, and then a week later it's back to the same thing and they need to go back for another session or appointment. You can't work on people fixing them with the idea of a business so that they can come back to you. I guess in this way I'm wanting it so that people are able to know how to heal themselves. So I set that up. One of the things I notice is when people massage, they're able to move the energy. I wanted to know why it wouldn't last very long. I knew one thing was the intent of the business aspect of wanting repeat clients for fear of survival, our standard of living being set to survive. So that was something I definitely wanted to go beyond. It's very important, guys, that we never do these things for profit. Never let money rule or lead you, because then the fear will get into your work, which will get into the healing, and it will interfere on all levels. Use money as a tool. I've learned to finally accept some money for what I do, because there is a bit of balance. They're talking about the direness of imbalance, but I feel there is a way that it can be done with eloquence and respect, in a way where no more, no less, not doing this for profit on a large scale, and just knowing that the money is a gift of gratitude, but it's not something that it is your basis or your focus. If you're doing something for the focus and basis of money, then it's going to cause a whole bunch of difficulties, as opposed to doing it for reasons beyond that because we can. And that suffering is unnecessary, and we need to see what is causing the suffering and how we are sometimes when we're a part of the problem and we're a part of the solution, and knowing what is happening inside of ourselves, because a healer is only as good as working on themselves, and knowing that every advice that you're giving to that person is probably something that you should be also giving to yourself, and being able to apply and walk your talk. I got off track. What was it now? Going through my mind while I'm healing. So anyway, I found that working with people, I can move the energy on the back, for example. If I saw there were knots, kinks, tension, backaches, headaches, you feel it moving, and people could feel it moving as well. I like to teach people how to feel energy via a certain temperature. Do you feel heat? Do you feel cold coming through my hands? Do you feel the tingling? Do you feel the colors? Okay, do you feel this area that hurts? Now do you feel it moving, kind of a thing? I'd like to bring them into that level of awareness that I'm in as well, because it's not just me, it is a team base. A healer cannot heal anyone if they can't heal themselves, and it's not the healer that's doing it, it's the person giving them, coercing them gently. I look at it a little bit sometimes because people are in such extreme pain that it's almost like the pain is holding them hostage, and they're desperate, and it's like they're almost wanting to commit suicide, so you have to gently talk them out of it, talk the pain out of that, and it's like negotiation kind of a thing, to explain it, to just get it to, hey, let it go kind of a thing. The person is here now, that so you can share all the things that you need to share. I will be the interpreter, I guess. And so when I finally get people to be aware of that and the energy is moving, I find that that tension and all that stuff, it tends to be an orange or a brown, a darker kind of an orange, like a rust kind of a color. Sometimes a darker kind of unhealthy looking green, the energy, it depends. Every color can be seen as unhealthy as well if it goes into the murky element of it. Or it can be, people tend to focus that the color is something that is the most important. What color is my aura? What color is this and that? And it's really just a matter of, it's not about the color, it's about the movement and the flow of the energy. And the color is more the focus of the chakra and the dominant aura layers, which I may have to do another video about later. But I keep trying to say something and I keep getting distracted. So anyway, when I'm working on people, I find that one of the most significant things is to find a way to release the energy. We can't just have it move in a circle around the back and then it will just place itself back there again. So you need to do certain things. I like to activate the finger chakras. I feel that the best way to remove these blockages and these things, these issues, or fear and pain or whatever, because it all links to the mind. I have to tell people the body is just the dis-easement of the mind. Whatever is happening in the mind and the emotions, if it's not dealt with after a while, the body starts to take it on. Just like if we don't deal with things in the dream realm, our nightmares, or the fourth dimension, then it follows us into waking life. So we pass the job down kind of a thing, so it gets a bit more intense, so it's harder for you to avoid, and you really have to focus on it now in waking life. Right? It's not going to go away until you finally do. I feel Italian talking with my hands. Hey! But they are excited because they know I'm talking about them. That's probably what it is, right guys? Okay, so I open the finger chakras. I feel this is extremely, extremely important in order to have anything move and to have any kind of results with people. So I play with the hands. I find that healing should be a sense of play because scientifically it's been proven we learn more when we're not thinking and when we are playing. And so it's just coming through you and you're in joy, and therefore there's no stress or pressure of, and then you're using more percentage of your brain. So anyway, I'll just play with the hands kind of the way I'm doing right now, and I will just be guided on what it needs and how much pressure. I like to time it to the beat of the heart, to the flow of the blood, and I will, once the fingers and the hands are ready and I feel that all the energy channels are open from the shoulders. I use a lot of pressure actually. When people get massages from me, like Irma knows, the first thing people say to me is, "Holy cow, you are really strong." I guess I don't expect a little blonde girl to have this kind of a strength, but it just comes through me. I don't like those massages where they're just light, tickling, I don't know, oils. I never use oils. I dislike massage beds. I really just like to use the floor. Oils make me slip off my mark because, like I said, I need to time it to the flow of the blood, to the beat of the heart, in order to get the right sync happening. So anyway, the next thing I do, I need to open up the finger chakras and the hand chakras. So now all the channels are open, for example. I will see if I can make that noise. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but I have to have that noise in order to know that it's open. And then I put my hands over to feel if the energy is flowing. Then this is where people are really able to feel it. And then this is where I can start doing this kind of a sweeping thing from their body, all the way from the back, down the arms, out the hands. I have to guide that energy, that block, that stagnation out. And that's one of the things I do. Sometimes I'll do it with the feet and the toes too if it's necessary. I can also sometimes do it with the root and the crown, but most importantly is through the hands. And this is key. This is something that they don't really teach you. They just, but this is something that if you really want to have the results, that's what we should do. What else do I do? Oh my gosh. So many things. Sometimes because I use a lot of strength, and sometimes people are very sensitive to that physically. Excuse me. I use something called psychic anesthesia. Now that is just when you go to the dentist and they're gonna do some kind of work on your mouth that's going to hurt a lot. So they numb you, and so you can't feel it. That's kind of what I will do. I have whatever, the thing is, it's great because it does work a lot through intent and pure intent at that, and it will determine the quality of your work by your approach and what kind of state I'm in when I enter this. If I can't be clear, if I'm not in my power while I'm doing this and helping the other people access their power, then that's also going to determine the kind of results I'm going to have as well. So that's why I like to come up with things that assist people. I call it my psychic laboratory, or my psychic lab, where I can just pull up whatever is needed, so then I can work on people and apply the pressure that I need to without them being too sensitive or ticklish or it hurting them. So that's one of the other things. Another thing I like to do is I like to get the people to remember a time when their body was pristine, when they didn't have this pain or this problem, this issue. So sometimes I will take them back to when they are maybe 5 or 6 years old, when they could feel the full mobility of their body and the potential of it and the spring that we had when we were younger, and stuff like that. If it's something that's been a long-term injury through maybe their entire life or something of a past life, then I will take them to another life, a past life or even a future life where this has been rectified. So that's another approach. There's so many approaches. It's hard to say them all in this one shot because I still have more videos more questions to go. And else is significant to say about the healing that I do. The dressage is what we call it. Well, I call it, and my guides too. Yeah, because the body doesn't know the difference between of time and space. So if I work on someone and they feel better, it tends to get less and less intense to the point I like to ask, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? And then when I start to do my work, sometimes it doesn't take me very long. I see where they're at. Maybe it will drop down from an 8 to a 5, and then to a 4, and 3, and then 2, and it just gets less and less. But I say if they do something to trigger it, if it comes back, then they need to, they can think of me working on them, and it will psych the body out and make it think that I'm still there. Because just the thought of me and that memory can bring back all that feeling that the body had, in that harmony, that clarity, that appreciation, which will allow it to relax. But people have to do their work as well. I will help the body remember its original posture, its original way of how it used to hold itself before all the stress and weight happened. I find that in the back of the neck, this is an area that's always quite stiff, and I always like to call it the Atlas complex, of meaning the weight of the world is on your shoulders kind of a thing. And this is usually the case for people who feel like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. So just working with that and getting them to understand that really, really helps. But then what are they going to do about it? Are they going to just constantly have me come see them, or are they going to catch themselves when that stress is starting to build in their shoulders? Because, I mean, we're such creatures of habit. We get used to doing certain things over and over, and it becomes our comfort, even if it makes us numb and in pain after a while. We still will do it because it's just all we know. So then this is where you have to bring in unlearning, and get them to create a new way of approaching the stress. Not to take it out on their body or themselves and their mind, because that, again, will reflect on the body. I'm going to try to continue on with other questions now, because otherwise I could be talking a really long time. Let's see here. My emotions, the other thing she wanted me to talk about is what kind of emotions am I having while I'm doing it. I usually will feel what the other person is feeling, and I will sometimes take the pain on for people myself into my own body. But it's because I'm able to transmute it. I now understand that before, when I was feeling sad or in pain, a lot of times it's not ours. It's either from Lady Gaia assisting her with hey, like, you don't have to carry that heavy load all by yourself, a burden that, we'll share it, kind of a thing. Give it to each one of your little cells, each one of your people, kind of a thing. But it's not as far as for the long haul. It's just for us to transmute and move to the next level. It's just when we're in amnesia and we're in such dense energy for such a long time, it becomes very hard for us to remember how to be able to transcend this energy, this pain, this fear, and difficulty. So we just start to file it on our, more weight, to the point that we're just stagnated, and we paralyze ourselves, and we can't move forward on mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Let's see here. That's so funny. I was just answering that question. Number 4, are you picking up that person's energy or feeling any blockages? You're not psychic, but you do pick up on messages about the person's past and future. I always pick up people's feelings and emotions because, like I said, they are people who pick up, people who even have to think they're depressed and stuff like that. They're just, I think that's symptoms of oneness, where they're just feeling other people's pain and sadness, and they don't know that, so they think it's all theirs. But once you are able to be aware of that, you're able to start to feel, okay, I'm feeling this. Wait a second, is this mine, or is this coming from somewhere else? Where is this coming from? And I just kind of backtrack it till I can kind of find the origin. Okay, that's my mother. Okay, that's my brother. Okay, that's my friend, kind of a thing. So what is exactly mine, kind of a thing? What can I do about it? Why am I picking this up? Okay, extensions of myself. What is this trying to tell me about myself, the inner work that I need to do? So whenever I'm healing other people, I have to be doing the healing on myself as well, scanning and finding out. Because every time stuff is going on in the world, things that we don't like, we need to look at ourselves. I think I even posted something like that on my Facebook recently, looking at what's going on inside of us. Let's see here. I'm able to feel their blockages, yes. I can't tell the difference between them and me. You're not, yes, I don't like the word psychic. I don't like for people to think of me like that. A lot of the times when I'm on the spot, I get very shy and I become the singing frog of Warner Brothers. But then, when I'm having a casual conversation, psychic tendencies will come out. Everybody has it. It's their birthright. They just don't trust it enough, and they have a lot of fear when it comes to that. And when you go beyond that and you just let yourself flow naturally, like I said, there's all the information and knowledge is in us. If we want to be, we all are healers, but we don't trust ourselves enough to let it come through. And when we do, we're able to do wonderful things. But that doesn't just apply. I mean, everything is healing, actually. And so when you get insight about someone and it doesn't seem to make any sense to you, but when you share it with a person, it makes sense to them. So yeah, when you put your hands on people, their body tells you a story. Their energy tells you a story of all the incarnations and movies and roles they have played, and particularly if it's significant to what they are going through right now. That's one of the reasons we don't remember our past lives, is because of that alone. That first of all, we need to focus on this life, and we'll start to think of that past and that pain, and it will stagnate us from living our life right now. But, it seems like, for me, every single life we've ever lived is simultaneously not just the past but future, and other dimensions and other worlds have all prepared us for a life that we're living right now where they implode, a timeline where they all implode and we start to be aware and live them all simultaneously in this life where a week can feel like a year, where we're living so much in a short amount of time. So yeah, that's what I say about that. I have to hurry because my battery life is going. Let's see. What would you look, number 5, what would you look for in a message yourself if you're seeing someone? Oh, it's a massage. Nah. I rarely get massages myself because most people, I don't feel like, know what they're doing or are that in tune to the body in that way. Now there are more light workers now coming through that will be able, that are getting the same kind of information that I'm getting, and not that I'm special or anything. We are just able to surrender to that flow, to that wisdom. We're basically Source's paintbrush coming through in our own unique, through our own perspective, our own lens to bring this through. What would I look for is just someone who is very, very intuitive and sensitive and connected with their heart and their emotions, and the integrity is there. They're humbling themselves enough to listen to the body, the energy, humbling themselves enough to listen to a bug and get the wisdom from that. That's very appealing to me in healing myself or looking into getting a massage from others. And why they're doing it. Are they doing it because they love it and because they know they can help, or other reasons? Number 6, can you give us some tips on working with clients to the best potential that we have in us? What is the whole purpose of body workers and massages for you? I gave quite a few tips in the video already. I just jumped ahead. The best thing you can do is, like I said, just listen to the body, approach it very gently, lovingly, no judgment. How can you judge, when you are in other people's shoes? If you're in their shoes, it's so easy to watch a movie and say, oh, if I were them, I would do this, this, and that. And it's easier to fix other people's lives than our own, so always do that inner work on yourself as well before you work on other people, and be honest with yourself. It's okay to admit that you're wrong from time to time. Sometimes it's really worth it in order to go to that depth of understanding and be able to heal. You have to let old things fall away that we hold on to so strongly. The potential also has to come from people when they're playing. Just enjoying feeling the bones, the muscles, and learning to help themselves become more in tune with it, finding new ways, creating new ways of healing, because that's what we're doing. We're constantly creating new ways of healing each other in as many different modalities as possible. The purpose of a body working and massage for us is just, for me, is to allow ourselves to just be. I think that life makes it very hard sometimes to allow ourselves to be who we are, so we have to hide who we are and what we know and play all these games with each other. And I think it's really more about being allowed to be who we are, to be understood and accepted, and to no longer hide, but to come forward and embrace it and assist the world in its wholeness and its growth, so that we can quantum leap to a new way of living and being. And that's what motivates me. I always say that we're infinite potential, and the way that we're living right now is such an insult compared to how we can be living. So we owe it to ourselves to, explore this. And by whatever means, if it seems quite out there, there's, Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge, because this realm these things do exist in the spirit realm that we're trying to anchor here on all levels. So I think that when I massage people, sometimes it feels like I'm typing in a code to get permission to, before I hear access granted, you can now work in it, we will take on what you're giving, and set it, because the body will constantly, recorrect itself or heal itself every night or restructure itself. But if it has not the best program that it's working on within the mind, then it will just keep recreating the pain. So when you're typing in that code, you can give it a new code or new software and stuff like that, or help it access a software that people, they have a computer and there's a whole bunch of programs that they don't use or run because they just don't know how. I know, I'm guilty of it. I'm lousy with any kind of technology. Okay, next. 7. What have you seen in Asia that is much different from our approach to doing massage? I didn't get a Thai massage. I heard about them. I hear they're incredible, and they do really well overseas, back in North America as well. A lot of professional massage therapists come to see me, and I'll work on them, and what I like doing is having them explain to me the different techniques that I'm doing, because they have studied all the different ones and I haven't. So they'll be like, okay, that one there, that's that technique, that's shiatsu, that's deep tissue, that one's Swedish, that one's lomi lomi, so it's like, I don't know why we had to separate them all when we can just kind of bring them all through us at the same time, and then on an energy level too. So I sometimes like to say that the Jessage is like a combination of acupressure, deep tissue, Thai, Swedish, Reiki, pranic, all the different healing modalities that just come through, kind of a thing. I think they're a bit more creative and more intuitive with the massaging here. But let's see. It's hard to answer this question also because I've not really, I've just been used to doing my own thing as opposed to exploring different massaging modalities. I only explore that through myself or with other people who come to work with me, or help me figure out exactly what it is that I'm doing and how it's working. That's why it's weird for me doing workshops, because it's hard to explain what it is that I do. I just do it, just hang out with me for a bit. And I'm really grateful to you, Irma, for giving me these questions, because they're different questions. They're refreshing. I'm usually so used to answering the same questions over and over again, and so this is really cool. I guess to explore give people some new perspective. Do you see massages growing and shamanistic techniques here in the Western world, or even the way that we deal with the illnesses? Oh, definitely. I think that the East and the West are merging their healing modalities right now. What bothers me about the Western medicine is they seem to just focus on the body. They're not looking at the other aspects, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. We think that if we have a pain in the hand that we have to treat the hand, but it might not even come. It might not have anything to do with the hand. It might have started somewhere else, maybe in the shoulder, but it's just reflecting and playing out in the hand. That's something really interesting I learned with quantum biofeedback. I also found it quite interesting. I didn't go to Japan, but I heard that the Japanese doctors only get paid when you're healthy. And I think that'd be so interesting to integrate into North America or the U.S. Canada needs it too, and Europe as well, I'm sure. A ton of other countries. Australia, definitely see Australia will need something like that to have happen. I think it's just a matter of just bringing spirituality and science and being open to new things, just bringing them all together so that we can have a whole picture, not disregarding one thing over the other because we don't understand it, or because it's not what we were taught in school, which tends to always teach us what to think rather than how to think, and the piece of paper to come off an assembly line to determine our self-worth. We need to go beyond that. That's very rigid and primitive, and it's not working in the grand scheme of things. Okay, it works for some people but not for everyone, and what about them, and where do they get their chance to express what they know, their gifts to offer the planet that can assist in our growth and development collectively to benefit everyone, not just a few. I see us being able to heal ourselves, and I think that the healing is just going to increase on the planet. The more we're healing ourselves, the more we're healing others, the more we're healing ourselves in other dimensions and worlds and the planet, and that ripples and affects sends throughout the universe, kind of a thing. Inside as well. 9. Will you be coming back to do workshops here in Toronto and offering your services with Reiki and energy healing? I don't know, honestly. I don't know where I'm going to be a month from now, and I have to kind of live with that kind of way of being, that life knows more than I do. We tend to always want to plan and structure our life to suit what we think is our ideals and our expectations, but I've kind of lived and learned that that's not, that you have to really just surrender to life and let it show you where you need to be and go. So will I go back to Toronto? It's hard to say. Maybe. I'm still getting used to teaching workshops and doing my healing in the way that I do it, and just sending it more to the masses, kind of a thing. That's something I'm working on getting used to. It's nice to go back to Toronto and Vancouver and all these places that I've been to in the world, because I have beautiful friends there, and the potential that's there, the flower buds that are yet to bloom it's very exciting idea. So it probably will happen. I'm not sure when, though. I can't say. I'm on an adventure with life, showing me and taking me to all the places where I need to be in order, that will do the most good at this time. Yeah. I mean, we can do this long distance healing as well, but I don't know it's hard to answer it. I just don't know. We'll just have to see if maybe you feel it intuitively. Maybe I feel it intuitively, but I'm just trying so hard not to make plans, but to let life show me. 10. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and gifts with us today. We will keep looking at your site for updates on your status. That's not really a question. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me do this. I'm going to be updating my site very soon, so it'll be changing dramatically. But there's still my Twitter, and there's my Facebook, and there's my YouTube, and there's Irma and her wonderful projects as well. You're very welcome. I will also see if I can find other people who are doing something along the lines that you are, that I feel would be interesting for you to interview. So I will assist you in whatever way I can. I'm so grateful for people who help me help others to make this world a beautiful place, to see the potential realized, and yeah. That is all I want to say for now, so thank you very much, and talk to you later.